brother in this t-shirt, Brother Gbenga. God bless you, sir, for always responding to us when we call. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, family. I'm here. And just like Sister Matayo, the goal is married by the grace of God, will be kept in their homes by the love of Christ. And those who are divorced should not be treated as pariahs. You know, I remember my former church, uh, they were having a class on marriage. And in the church, we had 4 widows, 18 divorcees. And the manual for Sunday school addressed marriage. Part 1, part 2, part 3. 3 Sundays. And even though I'm married and I'm not divorced, I knew that these single mothers and divorced women and widows were not carried along. They were not nurtured. They had issues too. They had children, they had school fees, they had to deal with their own bodies, their needs. They had to deal with coping spiritually, financially. Where do they put children when opportunities come, maybe to travel and there is no partner? Where do they put their children? How do they balance life? They had a lot of issues. In fact, for the divorced, life is a little bit more complicated than for those who are struggling in their marriage. So I'll say this emphatically that it is important to weigh it very well. So I protested in church during the Sunday school. I stood up and I said, the next topic is going to be heaven, and heaven is our goal or something like that. And I was like, why wasn't there a part 4 to address the need of these women and the men? The man was among those who are divorced. The guy has been trying to remarry, but there was many of us may not know this, but there is this thing about people who are divorced and how people see them. I don't want to label it, but once somebody is divorced, many ladies don't want to be with them. The ladies wouldn't mind really being their girlfriend or even sleeping with them. But when it comes to marriage, the families of the ladies will protest that you cannot marry a divorced person, you cannot follow a divorced man, you cannot. So all these issues are there. I see them every day, and the church refused to address them. So when I protested, the assistant pastor, a woman, happily married woman, accomplished, stood up and said, the reason it is not in the manual is because we cannot be telling people to remain married and then be encouraging them to get divorced. We can only take a side. If you are married, you must stay in it. Otherwise, you're on your own. And then I responded by saying, but you collect their tithes. You collect their offering. They are workers in the church. They will come here and clean windows and clean. And you guys have to, you have to see me those days, because now I just keep away from churches basically because I'm troublesome in that direction. I don't like things like that. It's not good to be unbalanced and unfair. Why are you then collecting tithe offering? Why are you making them workers if what they will get in church is not going to be what other people are getting? If they cannot be taught and helped, if there's no support system, like the married people, quickly the pastor will go and settle marriage fight. Every day you are settling marriage fight. This couple is having a problem, pastor will rush there. That couple having a problem, pastor will rush there. This one, they will call on the phone. They will follow them up so that they don't get divorced. I understand that. But those who are divorced, they need more support. Does it not even make sense to support them, but to just treat them like you are divorced? Bye bye. That's not fair. That's not fair. It is not every divorce that is like a product of somebody being uh, wicked. Even if somebody cheats and the person as a result got divorced, or the husband or wife decided they are not doing again, that soul is still precious to God. You still must find a way to reconcile the person to God and help the person start his life again. It is my experience, my understanding that all souls are precious to God. And regardless of the fault lines we have in our lives, the Bible said that we will be the rebuilders of broken walls and broken cities. Our duty, according to the scripture, is to rebuild everything that has broken down. Everything. From lives to marriages to homes to destinies, we have a duty to bring joy to every life, regardless of the mistakes they've made, their bad decisions, whatever they have done, regardless of the sickness they are dealing with or the issues they have, regardless of their own mistakes. Because some of us, we are the problems, we are the reasons why we got divorced. Some of us are the problem. We must admit that, okay, this lady is the one that is the problem. However, even if her character is bad, her behavior is bad, she's so untrained and uncouth and emotionally unstable and has mental issues, no matter what you say it, you still look at her and say, this is a soul that Jesus will do everything, in fact, not will do, that Jesus has done everything to save. And so you must provide support. There must be love. There must be a support system within the church system that says, oh, okay, what do we do? How do we help sister so and so with her children? She needs somebody to babysit her children. She needs a job. She's traveling out of the country. She didn't have anywhere to put her children. Okay, her son is growing. The son needs a father figure and the husband is nowhere. Okay, so what do we do to ensure that the boy has a father figure in his life, not somebody that will be sleeping with the mother, but somebody that would actually mentor this young man and make sure the destiny is not wasted? What about the daughters? Oh, this woman is a little bit, she's struggling, and the daughters are finding it hard. Who can act as a mother, as a support system to this woman so that the children will turn out to be quality? These are legitimate concerns that anybody should not throw away. These are legitimate concerns. So what do we do if we have a case of a divorce? The first thing is you must not keep away from the church. There's a stigma around divorce. So most people, once they divorce, they feel that people will judge them. And people do. They feel they are alone, that there's nobody that would want to hear their story. So they feel they've been defined by that divorce. And as a result of that, everybody they met, they had to tell the person their story. I've seen that often. Women will be in a church and then somebody will ask, what about your husband? And then they will have to tell the story again. They will have to sit somebody down and say, hey, my husband, he used to beat me. He used to do this. Then they go to another place. They have to repeat the story 10 times, simply so that they can gain a little bit of understanding, because automatically when they are not with their husband, they are judged, and they see that they have children, they are judged, so they don't want to be judged, so they have to keep telling their story over and over again, and that thing is tiring. We must learn to accept people and love them regardless of all their faults and their shortcomings. It is our duty. In fact, Christ did the same for us. That somebody is single and unmarried is not a crime. That somebody is divorced is not a crime. That somebody is widowed is not a crime. That somebody is separated from the husband or the wife is not a crime. And that somebody is struggling with life does not then mean that the person should do it alone. So you must not keep away from fellowship. You must make sure, if your judge is judging you, leave that church. I beg you, leave. Find a church that will accept you. It can be online. Normal Cathedral will accept you. blissful fellowship will accept you. We will pray together. We will read the scriptures together. We will keep you in fellowship. You must be kept in fellowship. Once the enemy can isolate you, the end of the result will be terrible. And that's what the enemy is always looking for, isolating people away from fellowship. That's the first thing. So you must keep fellowship. The second thing that is really very important in a divorce is financial. When people get divorced, money becomes an issue, especially if they don't get like huge settlement from the court. If it's a woman, she must learn to work. She must find a way back to her feet, depending on her circumstances. If she wasn't working before, or if the husband has been the support system, then she must now learn how to fend for herself, how to be responsible as an adult. And again, the church has a role to play. While this person is looking for a job, the church has a duty to ensure that she does not go hungry and that her children do not starve. I mean this with all my heart. I support a lot of divorced people out of my own pocket. I do it with joy, and I'm not saying it here so that anybody can clap for me. I don't need anybody's applause. I live my life, I live my days, and I will continue to live it of my own will and by my own choices. I don't want anybody's applause. I'm just saying that I cannot see a mother struggling with 3 children, wants to pay school fees, wants to feed them, maybe because she slept with somebody, the husband found out and the husband kicked her out. Then I'll say you are eternally condemned. I cannot in good conscience do that. And I cannot see a brother who has been married and now suddenly does not have anything, and then I would close my eyes and say, it is as you lay your bed, so you lie on it. I can't do that. It is not my Christian nature. And I believe that every Christian should be like that. If we are all like that, we would be helping the kingdom to sow seeds of joy all over the world. But if we are judgmental, we will end up encouraging such people to become prey to the enemy, because a woman that is divorced, that doesn't have money, will look for money. And there are men out there who would basically take advantage of their desperation to make them what they were not meant to be, simply because the church has failed to support. Many of us understand what I'm saying. So before you know it, she begins to sleep around. And ironically, do you know those she'll be sleeping with? Just guess. Because I've said this several times. I also said it in my church the other day, that time when I was complaining. I said, hey, these women are in the church. You are not paying attention to them. You are acting as if they are criminals. Whose husband do you think will be taking care of them in secret? She doesn't have a job. She will need money. She would desperately go out and ask somebody to help. All of you will be in church wearing makeup. Women especially have something against women that are divorced that I do not understand. Like, they do not see beyond the fact that the woman is suddenly free, and they cannot see beyond the fact that their husband could possibly be the one that is providing help to this woman in secret, while everybody will come to church and sing Kumbaya. But I can see that it is somebody's husband this woman will be sleeping with. Everybody will not be crying foul later. But if you have quickly rallied around her, you had helped her, you have supported her, you will be saving your own home by saving her too. Many people don't think like that, but that's how I think. A desperate woman would look for solution, and some men would see the opportunity to say, hey, you rub my back, I'll rub yours. And then both men and the man and the woman will come to church. Everybody will be keeping a straight face, while the wife will be wearing makeup and wearing a hat and dancing in church, thinking that she's safe in her marriage, not knowing she's not safe. But if this woman dancing had not been so judgmental and had so, this lady, she just got divorced, let me make her food. This weekend when I'm going to shop, I'm going to buy some extra food. I'm going to see sister so and so. Our children will need clothes. Our children will need, and you support her. She sees the love. You understand that she will not even think, and need will not drive her. And so when need does not drive a person, the person then has the ability to look beyond needs and begin to fend for herself. Many of us don't think like that, but that is how to think. Many of us don't think like that. I don't know why. I struggle with it. And I'm telling you, I've been in ministry for years, and I've heard women speak about those who are divorced and those who are, and I usually wonder why the animosity. Why can't you see that by helping her, you are helping yourself? Because her children will pay school fees, and schools will demand full payment. She comes to your husband, or she comes to your cousin, or she comes to somebody close to you, and the person will say, okay, and she will say, okay, before you know it, your house is on fire. But if you had helped, and you have told your husband yourself, oh, this sister, let's see what you can do about the children. Let's say at least how much is that school fees? Okay, if you cannot give all, can we give them some just a part payment? And this woman would automatically realize that, hey, I have help. So she's no longer looking, if she's going to sleep with anybody at that point, she will still be the person, not out of desperation, but out of choice. And that is a very important thing, that if a woman that is divorced is going to go all out and say, I want to be with another man, it shouldn't be because of the need to feed herself and her children. It should be because she's an independent woman who has seen another guy and wants to be with the guy. See? That's simple. So if at that point she chose to be with your husband or with somebody else, you will know that, oh, this woman is really wicked. But if it was driven by need, then you can't blame her so much. You have to think that way. When one of us falls, all of us are falling. That is a fact. I see that in my head all the time. I would never leave anyone that the Lord has committed into my hand behind, regardless of their circumstance. We are all rising together. It doesn't matter if we get there late. It doesn't matter if we get there early. But no matter how much we have to slow down to pick up the pieces, we have to. So being financial independence is important, and the church must help in this regard. You must help in this regard. Support the person. The next thing is emotional support. Divorce is a tough thing. You know, it is easier to be single and never married than to be married and then to go back to being single. Waking up in the middle of the night alone on the bed, without anybody to talk to, without anybody to fight with. And many of us here would think, oh, no, it is not a bad thing for husband and wife to have a quarrel. Not true. It's natural. Just that it should be respectful disagreements, not all these ones that is doing the world. Husband and wife usually would have a little argument. I was sharing with a couple that came to visit me earlier today how my wife had a TV interview. She was preparing for the interview, and we were both at home, and she was talking about politics, Lagos State politics between Ambode, that time when Ambode was going to be thrown out of office, and we were talking about it. And because my wife saw Ambode as somebody that was cheated, she was very heated in an argument that the godfather of Lagos State is a bad man. See what he did. Da, 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 da. So she was really vehement about her argument. I took a neutral position, and I was trying to explain to her that, hey, chill, don't you understand, this is politics, this is how it works, look at it from my own point of view. And she wouldn't listen because she felt that the man had been cheated, and so she was looking at it emotionally, but I was quite rational about it. The next day, she was on TV, and my wife was interviewing a man from, I think, APC, who had a hand, who knew about the way they threw the man out, and they were talking about the issue. And I noticed that all the points my wife raised in the argument they were my points. Like, it was as if She basically took my argument and she used it to do her interview. And I was like, oh my God, see this girl. Like yesterday, she was arguing with me as if, yeah. Now today, she was doing a TV interview and she was basically copying my words and using it to interview the guy and saying, well, look at it rationally. Don't you think that when they took away Loma in Lagos, that they did this? Don't you think that when Ambade did this, it was against the people that are doing? And she was saying it, and I was like, this was my argument. Why is she using my argument when she said the argument was faulty? But then I understood that it takes two. So why would we be married if we cannot weigh opinion? And then I can convert to your point and you can convert to mine, But if there is nobody to argue with or talk to or even fight with, do you know how crazy that is? Like you'll be alone with your own thoughts. That thing can drive somebody crazy. I'm telling you. There are some of us that are loners. I can deal with my thoughts since I was young. I usually stay alone. I like being alone a lot. I like thinking deep about things. So I'll just take a long stroll. I've strolled before for 8 hours. Like I was in Paraga in Ondo State. I went for an event. When I got to the event, there was too much noise, and I didn't know anybody there. And I began to take a stroll. I was thinking, and I took 4 hours walk to the main road from the village, and I took 4 hours walk back. Everybody, they were all searching for me there, thinking that something has happened to me. When I got there, everybody was screaming, and I said, "What happened?" They said, "Where did you go? What happened?" I said, "I went for a walk." We can walk 8 hours. I can do that, but not everybody can. So emotional support is important. You must talk to the person that is divorced. How are you doing? How is everything? How are the children? You miss your husband? Did they call? What are you guys talking about? Are you considering reconciliation? If you are not considering reconciliation, why are you still going to his house to sleep with him? That I know many cases like that before I had gotten divorced, and then the woman will still be sneaking she'll be sneaking to her ex's house once in a while just because she didn't know how to cope with being divorced, and the man would then get the courage to think that she couldn't do without him, and the man will continue to abuse. And so you have to give emotional support now, like emotional support. Talk to the person, and please, I'm begging, do not take advantage. I'm talking to the men here. Maybe you should let your wives or the ladies around you be the ones to deal with such vulnerable people. You have to understand what I'm saying. Not all men set out to take advantage of divorced women, but if a woman is divorced or she's a single mother and she has somebody that she's talking to, and the person is listening, the person is gentle, the person is caring, the person provides money, ladies and gentlemen, the legs will soon open. I can tell you that, not from experience. By the grace of God, I've never crossed that line, but I have friends that have, a lot of them in ministry. In fact, I had one that his specialty was sleeping with single mothers and divorced women. That the day he was telling me how many of them he had slept with, I was so shocked. I couldn't believe. And he's a pastor, and he says that they just come to him and he couldn't control it. So I had to tell him that he should stop talking to divorced women altogether. He should stop counseling them. He should stop anyone that is a single mother or divorced. Once you hear it, run. That was the counsel I gave him, because it seems that he would overcommit in the process of trying to help. He would go all out, support until the woman will begin to feel a level of security around him, and before you know it, she will begin to sleep with him, and he's happily married, and it will become an issue, and he wouldn't know how to break away, because he will say the woman will be hurt, all the work I've done will go into the dustbin, the woman will go back 10% or 20%, no, and then the wife will be coming crying and all that. So the wife came crying to me, and that was how I knew about the issue, and I had to tell him that, hey, henceforth, do not get involved with divorced women anymore, So emotional support is important. I'm also saying this, that women should be the one. You notice the story of Ruth and Naomi, uh, you notice that uh, that was a woman that provided emotional support, even though she was old and she couldn't provide food. Ruth was providing the food, but she was the one giving the counsel because she was smart and wise, and she knew how to help her get back alive, back together. So that role is important that we play it. So after finance, because the finance is a basic need, the second one is emotion. Then you have to encourage this person to break ties with their ex. You know how it is when people are divorced, and then the man will still be controlling the woman, especially over the children. She'll be saying, "Yeah, that's how you always behave." Meanwhile, they are divorced. And then this lady, even though when they were together, this was what was always causing the trouble. Even after they get divorced, the emotion still persists. There will still be a lot of fighting. They've divorced, and yet the man will still call her and she'll still be shaking. She'll still be shaking, or she will call the man, and the man will lose himself simply because she was not helped to wean herself off the emotional ties that is between her and her ex. This is 631. I want to ask, do we all understand what I'm saying, or do I have to go back to my previous points?
We understand, sir.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. All right. So what then happens then is that the woman will see the man's call and she'll begin to shake. The man will see the woman's call and they are divorced, like legally divorced. So there is this emotional baggage that is still between them, that both of them have grown maybe a lot of animosity or hatred or fear, and it is still there. So we need to deal with that. And that will take counseling. And that counseling is not always a professional counseling thing. Anyone that finds themselves in a place of safety will break off the chains on their neck. It was what Jacob told Esau. He said, when you are tired of your brothers rule over you, you will break this yoke off your own neck. He didn't say, I'll break it for you. You will break it off. Safety helps us to break off yokes. So when the person has a support system, when the call comes in and she calls, and then the person says, hey, how are you? I want to talk to my children. And she says, oh, okay, your children are in the room. And she was able to let go and put the phone on whatever and put it on video and give to the children, and she walks away without trying to listen to what is he telling them. What are you? You understand? And she's not afraid that he's pressing my children against me. No, because no matter what it tells the children, she knows that the children are growing and they are seeing their mother. They can see that she's a good mother. So no matter what the man says, it's your mommy that's not doing this, it's your mommy that has separated us, it's your mommy that left, it's your mommy that did. I've seen many marriage issues, so I know these things. So when the children are like that, and dad is talking to the children, and the mother is telling the children, showing them love, and there is no lacuna, the children can easily look at the matter and say to themselves, that is just being overbearing. This is our mommy. We can see her, we love her, we care about her. And this is important. Before I go on, I must tell you that I'm a product of a divorced home. I do not want to pretend to be what I'm not. And when my father left my mother, he traveled abroad and he divorced her. All of us didn't even know that they are divorced. My mom even didn't know that they were divorced. He claimed at the time that because he was in America, he needed to marry a white woman for his papers, and that his form already showed that he was married, so he couldn't marry anybody. So he had to get a divorce from Nigeria. So he claimed everything was legal just to get papers, which is one of the things that I'm going to say here. For those of us who are married and husband is saying, I want to go abroad or something like that, I'm totally against it. I do not speak. I like being blunt. It helps me to say my mind and not try to be economical. If you are both drinking Gavi here, I beg you, drink it. Drink it and build a life together. If you have enough vision, if you can work together, you will build a life. I've seen people who had very little who build great things. When I was in the university, I know a couple that were sending their son to our school, and both of them were primary school teachers. I was wondering, how could you afford this school fees? And they were doing it. They did it for 4 years. They did it together. The man didn't run away. My dad was a principal. He said life was tough in Nigeria. He traveled, and then suddenly he said he needed papers. Suddenly he got a divorce paper. I remember my mom was sick for almost a year after she got she applied to go to the US, and then she got denied visa. And then my elder sister now got a lawyer, and they probed the reason for the denial of the visa. And then they claimed that she was saying that she was still Mrs. Wemimo, and had already filed with the US government. Can you please help me? When her husband had already filed with the US immigration office that he was divorced, so that they didn't know what to do at the embassy because she was claiming that she's still the wife of a man that had divorced her. So he didn't even tell my mom. So the relationship between them continued as husband and wife for many years before my mom discovered that she had been divorced. And I knew how the thing hit her with 5 children. And if it's somebody else, she would say it's fine. Like I say, I have my husband, even though he's married somebody else now, but it's just for papers. But she didn't take it like that way. She called him immediately and said, I got this document, I got this. What did you do? My dad was trying to explain, and of course there was a lot of shouting. And after that, I just saw her heart break, and I literally had to grow up at that point. Like I had to make a lot of decisions because I didn't want her to die of heartbreak. My dad and myself are still very good friends. He calls me every day now. He just got born again last year during COVID. But he had already had 2 children abroad, so it's fine. But I knew what she went through. And so I'm not speaking as somebody that is speaking theory. I saw a woman struggle with 5 children, and she was a full housewife, and the church couldn't help. Can you believe that? The man, the pastor, Reverend Abegunde, that eventually helped us, met our oldest sister in UI. My sister joined UI Baptist Church, and then my sister went to the pastor to tell the pastor that this has happened. My dad and mom are not together again. My dad stopped sending money home. My children are hungry. They were living in an uncompleted building. And the pastor immediately, God bless Baba, Baba immediately drove down to our house. That's a pastor, that's a Christian. Drove down to our house, came to that place where we were living at the time, because my dad was trying to, you know how men are when they want to use economy to force you to accept their decision. So he withdrew all support, hoping that my mom would call and beg, and my mom refused. And so our house rent expired, and we were chased out, and we had to be living in one house in Bodija Estate. We were reduced to basically nothing, and my mom still wouldn't beg, because she felt she was wrong, that she had the right to feel that way, every right, that her husband would do that to her. And this man of God came. He came to our house, he saw the house, he saw us, he saw me, he saw my siblings, and he told us, I met Tokumbo. Tokumbo told me about your situation, I will help. And this man helped. Within 10 months, it took time, but 10 months, it was the one that raised money for us to rent another flat. It was the one that paid for my WAEC when I was in 1998, when I was going to write WAEC. He paid for my WAEC. In fact, WAEC was late. He called Deaconess Adeoye and one woman and told me to go and meet the principal. I said, the woman must get you a form. The woman got me the form for my WAEC, got me the form for JAM, paid, and I didn't have to pay a penny. The church supported. Like, they put us in a house, and they were basically responsible for my own. So it wasn't as if they took on all the things, but they supported. They gave my older sister scholarship, 20,000 a month. They did what a church should do. That's a fact. And that is what I'm also asking that we do. That's what I'm asking. I'm not asking for too much. I'm not asking for too much. I'm saying that we should be our brother's keeper, that we should support those among us who are injured, those of us who are wounded, those of us who have gotten the short end of the stick. We should not look at them and say, serves you right. That is not the heart of Christ. That is not the heart of Christ. So we must support single women emotionally. I would prefer that women do this, or elderly men of God with proven track record, not those who the women can lean on, and then before you know it, handshake will go beyond the hand to the elbows. I would prefer that elderly men of God, strong men of God who had experience in life, respectable. Even if we cannot do this, you can refer cases to me. I'm young in age, but I'm an elder of the church, according to the order of Hebrews chapter 12. I've handled so many cases, and I can boast of my track record in them. And I trust the Lord that He would keep me and others that I'm training to be able to handle this work. So you can refer such people when they need support, so that they can have somebody to talk to, somebody that will look at the issues and help them sort it out. It's important. It is important. And again, after emotional support, you have to ensure that they are not treated like pariahs, because now they are single again. They may be thinking of getting remarried. This is a topic that you may not open in a year, but you can open it in 2 years. That somebody is a mother of 2, a mother of 3, does not stop them from getting married again, if they choose to do so. And some of us will be saying, oh, even the singles are not getting whatever. How do somebody that is divorced get a husband? God sets the solitary in families. If you would support them and make sure that they look well, that they don't age untimely and look too old and look as if life has left them. If they had the right support, fine girl will come back. I'm telling you, fine girl. How long before you know it? You will see that because she has peace of mind, she's eating well, children are in school, she herself will become a little bit restless. Like maybe she will get a career, and then she also get a job. She'll go to job, come back, and then she'll be looking at herself and thinking, okay, my life, I need more in my life. I need more, And when she begins to think that way, it is the right thing to help her, guide her, so that she does not make that same mistake she made the first time. Because I tell you that people usually attract the same kind. If you see a man that has always attracted abusive women, he will continue to do so if you don't help him to redirect his focus. If you see a woman that has always attracted abusive husbands, she would always attract abusive men. I've seen it also, and I'm telling you for a fact that it's something I've seen over and over. So what I do is, when I notice that, oh, this is the kind of man, she would tell me when they used to beat me, and my first boyfriend beat me, second, I say, why are you always like, it's always people that are beating you? Are you a drum that you're always going to meet? Okay, this is what to do. Sit down. Who is this one? No, that's not a good choice. I say, he'll beat you. This one, hey, this one will not beat you. Hey, but I don't like him. It's not. I said, yeah, the qualities that you like in him is the same quality that will make him beat you. Why don't you look at this other guy? He's gentle, he's a Christian, and then you help them make decisions, so that at the end of the day, they don't repeat the same mistake again. This is important. So counseling, helping them to get back on their feet, helping them on the day that he and the guy want to go out, telling her, bring your children, let them stay in my house for the night. It helps, so that her mind is at rest. So that when a guy is toasting her mind will not be somewhere else. You know how it can be when a guy and a girl are together and the girl is distracted. The guy would think she's not interested. Meanwhile, she's interested, but her mind is also with her children. So if she knows her children are safe, I must say that my mom is a very fine girl. So I remember one day we took a taxi myself and my mom. And then this time, so that I began to toast my mom. It was a crazy day. And the guy was like, Madam Mushetinho. I can't even imagine. And I was sitting at the back of the car. My mom was sitting right in front. And so my mom, I don't look at the taxi driver. My mom was like, do you see the guy behind? The taxi driver said, yes. My mom said, that's my third child. The two older ones are already in the university. The taxi driver just looked forward and forgot about it. And because my mom had very good gene, and so she didn't look her age at all. She didn't look at, she chose not to remarry, but it wasn't because men were not available. Men wanted to marry her. She was the one that felt after 5 children, being a Christian, she should just live her life onward. But if she had wanted to get married again, I would have supported her. I'm telling you with all my heart. She'll be coming to Nigeria soon to spend some time with me. But I know for sure that if she had ever taken that choice to remarry, I would never stand in her way. Nobody wants to be alone. It's not a good deal like that. Now, I have to talk about reconciliation. So if the man then decides that, let's reconcile, or if the woman says let's reconcile and the church says, okay, you guys have been divorced for some time, is there an opportunity for you guys to come back together and all that? You must not be quick to say, because the man is single and the woman is still single, they should marry each other back, please. No. Has there been changes? Have we seen changes? The year I got married, 2010, was the year my dad came back home to Nigeria. I was 30. He left when I was 13. So that would be 17 years gap. And in the 17 years, he has done a lot. He made a lot of money. He lost all the money. He dated many women. He did whatever. He lived his life, so to say. And so when he came back for my wedding, he was not with any woman anymore. The woman he married for the papers, they are divorced. So everybody in the family felt, yeah, so now he's single. Your mommy is also single. Let us reconcile them. Yeah. So because the family had never had the chance to put their mouth in the divorce issue. My dad was abroad when he divorced. So they had the chance now to call him and say, sit down, let's have a meeting. And then our family, my dad's family had always been around. So even when they were divorced, we were still relating with our father's family members normally. So it wasn't as if my mom isolated us from them, which is another thing. You shouldn't isolate people. That your husband is a bad person doesn't mean his entire family are witches and all that. No matter what words were exchanged, you must not isolate your children from their father's home or from your wife's family. You must allow them. My mom was smart enough to ensure that we know our family. We know my father's family too, so that we related with our cousins, with our uncles. Normally, the divorce did not break our family to pieces, like then keep us with our mommy alone, and then we cannot talk to one uncle or one auntie over there. No, we are still relating with our. Even now, the projects we are doing, one of my cousins is the one at the site every day sending videos. He's always going to our project because my mom didn't allow that to destroy the relationship she had with the family. She had issues with her husband, but she didn't have issues with the husband's family. So my dad came on for my wedding. Out of the 5 children, I was the only one that was present for the wedding. And because I was his first son, and everybody felt, okay, he wouldn't be at your son's wedding and all that. So he came. And after the wedding, they took the entire family to a place in Ikorodu for a meeting. My mom was there, my dad was there, everybody was begging up and down. They were telling my mom sorry, it was circumstances, it was situational, it was this, it was that. All the while the begging was going on, my dad came to my wedding with a girlfriend. So the girlfriend was waiting for him in a hotel. Like, he came to Nigeria, I flew with the girl down to Nigeria for my wedding. They both came for my wedding. The lady gave me $100 for my wedding gift. So when they were going for the meeting, the woman went to a hotel and was waiting for my dad. Just felt he went for a family meeting. And so at the family meeting, my dad was begging my mom. But there he was, another woman was waiting in a hotel for him. So they were begging. I was on honeymoon, and then they called me and they said, hey guy, daddy and mommy they are trying to reconcile. And I said, no. Everybody was like, wow, you should be happy. I said, no. What do you mean they are trying to reconcile? Did you see this Auntie Yemi that came, that gave me $100? Did you not see that they came together from America? How can you talk of reconciliation like that? The man is still an unrepentant skirt chaser. They would just repeat the same cycle again. He had not repented. He had not changed. Why are you not talking reconciliation? I was 30 at the time. They were not held. It wasn't a healthy thing. I'm not going to because it's my dad, because when I talk to my dad, I tell him now, even now, I say, Daddy, I'm your father. And he'll be laughing. I say, yeah. I said, because in age, you may be older than me, but in wisdom, I was born of Christ. The wisdom of Christ is mine. I'm wiser than you in everything. I say it to his face, because when it comes at me, and I say, no. I don't want the wisdom of the world. Keep your wisdom. I have Christ. When you are not there, Christ nurtured me. I don't want your wisdom. So it was the same attitude I had when they said they wanted to reconcile. I said, no. They cannot. And everybody at the time felt, oh, no, just for the sake of, I said, no, it's not good for the two of them to be alone. I said, no. I said, this man had a girlfriend waiting in the room. And we know him since we were young that he couldn't stop chasing skirts. So he's still chasing skirt now. At that time, maybe it was 51 or 52. He will still continue to chase her. And this woman will continue to cry and cry and cry and cry. Why would you put her back in that situation? So I said, no. And when my mom called me, I said, Mommy, I don't care what anybody says. In fact, take my word as the word of the Holy Spirit. You cannot be with this man. If you find another husband, fine for you. I will support you, but not this man. He has not changed one bit. I had to share that because I wanted you to know that when we are talking reconciliation, it's not just like two people coming back together. You have to look at it. What has changed? By the grace of God, have championed and masterminded many reconciliations. Many. I can't even count the number of people that are brought back together. But that is after the man had met the Lord, the woman had met the Lord. I can see the change. I can see improvement. I can see there's a pattern. There's a shift in their behavioral attitude and conditioning. Yeah. Then I would tell the lady, your husband has changed too. Is he calling you now? He's calling me often, sir. And then I'll tell the man, your wife has improved though. Did you notice this? Did you notice that? To say, yes, I can see she's really trying. And then I'll say, oh, can you guys now think of reconciling? I think there has been attitudinal change, behavioral change. You have better understanding now. So that way you can encourage reconciliation. But if you are just going to it's a guy, is a girl, they should be together. That's wickedness. If you put, every time you put a cat and a fish in the same place, one will be injured. And it is not the cat. Again, one will be injured and it is not the cat. It is always going to be the fish that will disappear, because you cannot put them in the same place. But if the two of them have learned and they have managed to grow together and they have learned from their mistakes and they are willing to work at it, and the man begins to talk right, think right, act right, and the woman is also putting in her bit, you will notice that there will be natural cohesion and healing. Even they will be the one to come and meet you and say, we want to reconcile, and you'll be happy to mastermind that. So when it comes to reconciliation, you have to consider the pros and the cons. You cannot just say because they've been married before they should come back together. That is not fair. You have to do it properly and make sure that the reconciliation works. However, your marriage is an option. They can go for that. God is not against it. Reconciliation is an option. They can do that. God is not against it. But you know how it is as I round off that. Nobody wants to be divorced twice. I have a friend, a pastor. He had been divorced once, and then he recently got divorced again. Every girl he has tried to talk to, when they hear when they hear that I've been divorced twice, all of them pick race, as in they ran. The man called me and said, I'm in trouble. Nobody wants to be with me. I said, yeah. Who wants to be with you? Like you're already in your 50s. So you now marry, you are now toasting a 20-something-year-old girl so that you will die, and then the girl will now be looking for husband in 10 years or 15 years. I beg, manage your singleness. Manage your be happy and contented with your singleness. Just be calling your children and be saying hi. And be watching movies. You are not single, you are not stressed. So there are times you can advise people not to remarry. Like this guy, I'm seriously encouraging him not to remarry, because what is the point? He's saying he wants to marry again, but what is the point? It seems he had done it twice and he has gotten both times wrong, and it's already late. But if he gets somebody that understands him, and I see that both of them understand each other, and I see that they were willing to go all the way, why not? And for some of us here, you need to forgive. It's one thing to talk about, it's another thing to do. You need to learn how to forgive. Some of us are terrible Christians. That you have divorced the guy does not mean you should now have hatred in your heart, that you should hate him, or that you should hate her and always speak ill of the person. It's one of the fundamentally silly things that I see people do. Do you know that I cannot speak ill of any of those that I ever dated before I got married? I still don't know how to. Some of them treated me so badly. There was one of them that showed me Pepe Gon. I still gave the mom some money about 2 years ago when they wanted to do it, whatever. The mom sent me a message. I sent her some good money. I couldn't. Why would I? Like, why would anybody? Like, we met each other. We loved each other. We had good time together. We had intimate. We had sex. We had children. And then things went south. Maybe you cheated. Maybe you cheated. Maybe the enemy. No matter what it is. And then the divorce came. He treated you badly before the divorce. Oh, you treated him badly. You spoke to him. He cried. He almost went mad. No matter what, after the divorce, rest, please. There's a season of rest. Rest from all your toils. Just let it go. Just let it go. I beg you. Just let it go, so that you can enjoy your life. You cannot harbor resentment in your heart because of what? That season is over. If you must take time to heal, take time to heal. But once you are healed, please, you have a chance to live a better life, a quality life, a sickness-free life, if you live the life well, if you live it right. I can continue on and on, but I think these few points should be able to help us. I can see that some of us are writing comments on the group. I promise that I'll read the comments. I promise that I would address them. By the power of the Holy Spirit, the blissful ministers will also call if there is any need to. You have support system here. There is no discrimination. You are married, we celebrate you. You are single, I celebrate you. You are divorced, I celebrate you and love you. There was a day the Holy Spirit told me, said, hey, guy. I said, sir. He said, you know what? I said, what? He said, you must treat every woman the way you treat your mother. As long as I said, yes, sir. The way you treat your mother, you must not look at them and consider their condition, whether they are rich or poor. You must respect, you must honor them. And he told me that because he knew that I would obey him. So I love you with all my heart. These little points I could give today, I believe that they will be of tremendous help. God bless you and keep your homes and keep your lives and keep you in him. In Jesus' name we pray.